Hey, hey, hey. Hey guys, welcome back to another Tech Support Spy video. As always, we appreciate you joining us and watching our video. As always, we appreciate you and thank you so much for watching and for your support. You by now are probably familiar with Bitlocker. Bitlocker is part of Windows 10, Windows 11, part of some older Windows versions as well. But if you have never heard of Bitlocker, stay tuned, watch this video. You'll learn more about Bitlocker. And one of the things that we want to talk about in Bitlocker is what it is and what it does in relation to your hard drive and how it protects your data on your Windows PC and its hard drive. Basically, the hard drive is your C drive, it's your primary drive. And we're going to talk about what Bitlocker does to your hard drive. All right, so Bitlocker, we're going to talk about it here in just a moment. But those who are familiar with Bitlocker, you ever wonder why Microsoft called it Bitlocker? Like, as we get through this video, you'll wonder why it should be called EncryptDR. EncryptDR, right? Encrypt Drive is what came to my head. I find that was funny. I thought it was a funny joke as I thought about telling this EncryptDR joke. But you'll see after we go through this video why EncryptDR might be a good name for this program that Windows or that Microsoft offers for their Windows operating system. But let's dive into the video and talk more about Bitlocker, what it is, what it's used for, and let's show you how to recover your Bitlocker key. Let's dive into the video, shall we? All right, so we are at learn.microsoft.com. And if you're not familiar with learn.microsoft.com, I do plan to do a video about learn.microsoft.com. You can learn a lot about Microsoft software, whether it's Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server, Active Directory. You can learn a lot about Microsoft software from learn.microsoft.com. But this site has a lot of information about Bitlocker. And we'll go through this Bitlocker overview on learn.microsoft.com. But it will give you some of the insights about Bitlocker and what it is and what it does. But before we talk about Bitlocker, let's talk about encryption and what encryption is and what encryption does to protect your data. And basically what encryption is, it's basically a process of being able to protect your data by scrambling the data and making it difficult for a hacker or a thief to read that information or to interpret that data to see what that data is behind that encryption. And then in order for that encrypted data to be unencrypted, it requires a key or a decryption key to decrypt or unencrypt that data so that that data or information is now visible to see what's actually behind the encryption. Hope that made sense, because I'm saying encryption, decryption, encrypt, crypt, decrypt, crypt, and you're probably all over the place. That's supposed to be funny. I hope somebody laughed at it. We're going to explain a little bit what that is and what encryption means. Let's take a look at an example of encryption. All right, so take a look at this example here. This is an example of an encrypted field for an authorization field. So basically, if you look at this authorization field, it shows a bunch of different letters and numbers. It's, that's the scrambling of the data, right? In a different, scrambled line of different letters and different numbers. And behind that authorization field is an authorized password. The password behind that scrambled line of numbers and letters. That way you don't know what the password is behind that scrambled line of different letters and numbers. And that is essentially what encryption is, right? It's basically scrambling, your password. Your password might be, Tito Jackson, and in order, and that was supposed to be funny, in order for that password to be encrypted, the process of scrambling that Tito Jackson password is going to be scrambled in a line of different letters and numbers so that a hacker or thief won't be able to see what that password is. And that is essentially what happens when your data or information is being encrypted. And this is what happens to your data. When your data is being encrypted on your hard drive or your C drive, And that is what Microsoft Windows BitLocker does. It basically encrypts your data on your PC, on your C drive. It scrambles it. That way a thief or a hacker or somebody can't see, your pictures or your documents, your tax files and data that you may store on your C drive. If the BitLocker encryption function is enabled, then in order for you or order for a thief or a hacker to get to that data, right? If they steal your computer or steal your hard drive, they need your BitLocker encryption key in order to access that data to see your data. Let's talk about this here with BitLocker. So if you look at this overview, we're not going to go through all of this here. And one of the things I do want to share is that, with BitLocker, I think BitLocker was first introduced in Windows Vista. Does anyone even remember Windows Vista? I feel like Windows Vista was so long ago. I still think XP was the most favorable Microsoft Windows operating system, but I think Vista came out after XP. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Vista came out right after Windows XP. But BitLocker has been around since Windows Vista. It's been available for Windows 7. It's been available for Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Windows 11, and it should still be available for Windows 12. So as you look at this BitLocker recovery overview, it talks about the scenarios that BitLocker recovery is enabled, BitLocker recovery options. It talks about recovery information stored by Microsoft Entra ID. We're not going to talk about Microsoft Entra ID. That has to do with Microsoft Cloud Services and Programs. And it talks about recovery information stored in ADDS. It's Active Directory. We're not going to talk about that as well. We're just going to talk about the BitLocker recovery scenarios and the BitLocker recovery options in this overview. So it talks about BitLocker recovery is the process by which access to a BitLocker protected drive, for example, your C drive, can be restored if the drive doesn't unlock using its default unlock mechanism. The default unlock mechanism is when you sign into your Windows PC, you're either using a PIN or you're typing in your Microsoft account password. This article describes scenarios that trigger BitLocker recovery, how to configure devices to save recovery information, and the options to restore access to a locked drive. So let's go through this. And again, it talks about encryption, and I think you're probably starting to realize why BitLocker should have been called Encryption DR. Right? I hope someone was laughing at that joke. I actually thought that joke was kind of funny. But anyway, let's continue on with the articles here. It talks about here BitLocker recovery scenarios. The following list provides examples of common events that cause a device to enter BitLocker recovery mode when starting Windows. Entering the wrong PIN too many times. Turn off the support for reading a USB device in a reboot environment. I'm not going to go through all these, but this kind of gives you an idea, right? When BitLocker is enabled and it's locked, it's not because you didn't configure it or, it's because Windows is reading how your PC is being conducted or how it's being used, right? So if it detects that there's some issues, if it feels that someone is trying to hack or someone is trying to get into your PC without your knowledge, it will turn on BitLocker and lock your hard drive. That's why, sometimes you wonder why you're getting that BitLocker message, this message, and you're wondering why you're getting it, and you remember you never configured or never enabled BitLocker. Well, it's because Windows is monitoring how your computer is used, and if it feels or looks at certain events that it thinks your computer is being hacked or a thief has your PC and may have the ability to get into your hard drive, it turns on BitLocker and it locks your hard drive. So let's look at some of the other examples here. Docking or undocking a portable computer. Changes to the NTFS partition table on the disk. Some of you may not know what that is. That's kind of technical. We'll dive into what NTFS is in a later video. Turn off and disabling, deactivating, or clearing the TPM. That is the Trusted Platform module. I'm trying to remember. That has to do with encryption and it also has to do with Windows 11. We'll talk about that a little later, but it gives you a list of different reasonings on why BitLocker may be enabled. Let's talk about the recovery options. All right, so we talked about the recovery scenarios, what enables the BitLocker or the Encrypt DR. It's an old joke, so I won't say it again. Anyways, so let's talk about the recovery options, right? So in a recovery scenario, the following options to restore access to the drive might be available depending on the policy settings applied to the device. So we're probably all familiar with this message here, right? That we've gotten before if our BitLocker is enabled on our hard drive and we don't know how to recover it. A lot of people are not familiar with how to recover the BitLocker key to access their hard drive. We're going to talk about that. We're going to show you how to access your BitLocker recovery key or password in case you end up getting this message one day and you realize, you know what, I don't know what that recovery key is. I need help. Well, we're about to show you how to obtain your BitLocker recovery key. Let's check it out. All right, so here is a support.microsoft.com article. It will be in the description, and it just talks about finding your BitLocker recovery key. You can go through the link if you want, but the best website to obtain your recovery key for BitLocker is at accounts.microsoft.com/devices/recovery key. So let's talk about, before we click on this, on what you need. Your BitLocker is tied to your Microsoft account. So if you're not familiar with nowadays with Windows 10 and Windows 11 and even Office 365, anything that's Microsoft related, in order for you to install it or to use that software, you have to have a Microsoft account, especially for Office 365. In order for you to install it, you have to have some type of Microsoft account. And a Microsoft account can be made up of whatever email address. You can create a Microsoft account using a gmail.com email, using a yahoo.com email. I've even seen Microsoft accounts using AOL.com as one of their email addresses to create a Microsoft account. So to access your recovery key, you need to know your Microsoft account information. You need to know what email address is tied to your Microsoft account and the password for your Microsoft account. Now, your password can be any password. It's not going to be. It may not be the same password as your gmail.com or your yahoo.com email address. It could be a different password depending on what password you gave Microsoft to be the password for your Microsoft account. And a lot of times I've come across users that have created their Microsoft account that they've used their regular email address. It might be at David TekSupportSpy at gmail.com, and the same password I use for that email, I've given Microsoft that same password that I use to log into my Microsoft account. So you just have to remember what email address and what your password is for that Microsoft account, because you're going to need your Microsoft account information, and you'll need to know the email and you need to know the password. And you're going to have to go to another computer. You can try to go to the account.microsoft.com/devices/recovery key on your smartphone. You can do that, but I will say it's a lot easier to do this on another PC or another Windows PC, whether it's your neighbor's PC, whether it's your friend's PC, or whether it's your cousin's or a family member PC. I would recommend to do this step to recover your key on another PC, but you certainly can use your smartphone to access this website to follow these directions. So you want to access this website, and again, if you come to this here, and I want to share this too, if you cannot remember your Microsoft account password, just click here. Can't access your account. Just click that, right, and just follow the instructions. Personal account, and just hit next. Read everything. Read everything that you see that Microsoft asks you before you click. You want to slow down. Don't be impatient. Try to be patient and just read what it says and follow through the instructions so that you are able to gain access to your Microsoft account. So if you do not remember your password, click can't access your account, choose what account, it's personal, and just be patient. Read each question and answer the question, accurately, and be able to reactivate your Microsoft account access. So I've already clicked on the recovery key website at accounts.microsoft.com. So now, yes, I have a TekSupportSpy.com email address that I did have problems with Microsoft and allow me to have this email address. And I do have it, and they've allowed me to use it. But I did have some problems. Now, be aware, in Microsoft, if you're watching this video, I'm giving you guys flowers. I'm just trying to show people how to use your software. Tech Support Spy is different. We're proud of the name, we're proud of the brand, and we hope to be the first brand and name worldwide to have the word spy in our brand name, in that name. There's no other company, there's no other business, no other brand out there in the world that has the word spy in it. We hope to be the first, and we hope to be a successful company globally. So, especially from a YouTube perspective. But yes, Tech Support Spy is the name of our company, and that is the name of our email address. All right, so where's my phone at? I have certain two-factor authentication turned on. So let me try to access this. Give me a moment. All right, so we are back, and we have finally been able to sign in. So it should bring up our Bitlocker recovery keys, and voila, presto. I thought that was kind of funny, but at that point, it's going to give you your recovery key, and it shows you what device name. Some of you may have multiple devices. You just have to remember what your device name is, and you might have to copy down or write down all of them, right, for each device. And you have to type in that your recovery key when you get that message that says it requires a recovery key. This is how you recover it. This is how you use it. You got to enter it in, and it should give you the access to enter into your hard drive or to enter into your Windows if you get that recovery key or BitLocker recovery key message when you try to sign into or boot up your Windows PC computer. So at that point, this is where you can find your recovery key. So I hope you learned something from this video. There's a lot of BitLocker videos out there. I hope I broke it down a little bit more in understanding what BitLocker is and what it does when it comes to encryption. I hope you learned something from this video. I appreciate you watching. Share this video with anyone and everyone. Tell others about Tech Support Spy. We are trying to be known worldwide. Tech Support Spy is the brand, is the name. And we do appreciate you supporting us here on YouTube. Thank you for watching Tech Support Spy.